Hello, colleagues, friends, and students. This is Dr. Satish Singhal, PhD, again from Computer Information Technology Department at Rose State College in Midwest City, Oklahoma. I'm back to show you the rectangle program in VB.NET, but this time we're going to use Windows application for data input and output both. Okay, so without any delay, we're going to go to Visual Studio. So I'm going to leave this code that I did in the previous video because I may copy and paste some of it. But basically we're going to do a new project, Visual Basic selected, but this time we'll do Windows Form. So I will just retype here a rectangle program, Windows application, and click OK. And okay, so it want to change that. Okay, so you want to close that. Let's see. Okay, fine. We can close it. I can open it again if I like. So it's gonna. So we'll get this form here in Windows application. You already get this form. You can change the dimension if you like. And generally, I change this form text property here, and text property is changeable by changing the. Okay, so these are not alphabetically. So let's do that. So rectangle program. As soon as I do that, it changes here. All right. So rectangle has two dimensions, width and length. So I need the input for those. Input is done by text boxes, and it's always a good idea that if you're going to have two text boxes and you're going to label them, that you build those first, and if you need more of those, you make copies of those. So I'm going to go to my toolbox. First I'm going to do a label here, drag and drop. Okay, and if you need to change the font, you can change the font. Of course, text has to be changed. So let's say I want the length input. So notice this change here, and if I want to change the font, so I can change the font from the font property right here. And textbooks describe this, at least to some degree anyway. So if I want font of 10 bold, I can change that. So that's taken care. Now I need a text box where input will be done. So go back to my toolbox and pick the text box, drag and drop in the form, and in this way it will be just single line. I'm going to bring it closer actually, and in a minute we'll show you multi-line text box. But I do have to do one thing, that I don't want its name to be text box 1 because I'm going to be using that in the code a little bit later, and I want some identifiable name. Okay, so let's go up here. Oh, come on. Yeah, so named property, I'm going to say txt length, because this is the name that I'm going to use in the code when I take the input for the length of the rectangle. Change that. Now I'm going to need something for the width, so really I don't have to drag and drop from the toolbox again. I can copy these two components. Control C will copy them, or you can go to edit and copy here, but I don't do that. I just use Control C, and Control V will paste them onto my canvas here. And I do just have to change two things. Since second thing is the width, I'm just gonna use that and change the text property here to width. So okay, so go just a little bit more down. So just change the text property to width, and I do need to change the name of this one because I don't like the name that's given by default text box one. So I'll say txt width. Okay, and I'm gonna need one more text box and the label to go with it where I'm gonna publish my results. I could use a pop-up box, but I'm not gonna do that. So I do paste again, Control V. Actually, what happened to my? And then bring it here. But this one I want to make it a little bit bigger. So, and also I'm going to bring label here on the top because I'm going to show my results over here. So I'm going to make it pretty big. And actually I can move this up a bit. So here I'm going to change the text property to results. Okay, because I want to publish my results in this text box, and I want to make it multi-line. So click the multi-line, and now I can make it. I can resize it in dimensions like this, and really, truthfully speaking, I can bring it down. I can make my form a little bigger, and I can make it even bigger actually. Okay, uh, when you use a text box to publish results, output results, you should actually give it a vertical scroll bar, and we can look at the scroll bar property here and just give it vertical only, don't do horizontal, that's a nightmare. And make it just a little bit bigger. Okay, so really plan here is that user will enter length of the rectangle here, width here, there'll be a button here which I still have to put, and once they click the button, the perimeter and the area will be published here. And I should be able to do as many rectangles as I like. Actually, I'm going to move them a little bit here. So I should be able to append results in this text box. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. Delete that. So go back to the design view. Just move it up just a little bit. Move this here and this a little bit better. So I'm going to need a button. As soon as the button is clicked, this value and this value are inputted, and results for the area and perimeters are published here. Okay. So for the button, I take button here, put that here. Button is a bad name, so I'm going to change two things here. The text property should be compute. So computation will be done, and I do need to change the name property because the default name it gets is a terrible name actually. Button 1. So btn compute. Okay. And once again, you can change the fonts if you like. Maybe I should do that. Make it to 10 bold. Okay. And resize it accordingly. And then I'm going to need a reset button which will clear up the values here and here and here. So really I'll just copy this button, Control C. Okay, didn't copy actually. Control C and paste it, Control V. So purpose of this second button is that when I press this, these values should be deleted, and I'm going to change the text property to reset. Resets my form. Will change the name property also. Come on, I need to go to the top here, and the name property to btn reset. The component that will be used in the code, it's very important that I know their name. I should be able to recognize them in the code. This form here is complete. it's not going to do anything because we didn't put any code in there. So now we want to put the code so that when I press the compute button, the value from here is gotten, area is calculated, perimeter is calculated, and then published here. Okay. So in order to do that, if I click here, a code window should open right there. So here I define my length and width the way I did in the command line program. So I say dim length equals, and I'll do the parsing. So double dot parse. Since I'm doing double dot parse, length will automatically become double type, and that's in the txt length text box, has that value that user inputs dot its text property. Okay. So this becomes just like console.readline, as if you read a string, the length. So when they enter the length, it'll be a string, and this property here, text property, gives us the value in the text length text box. Since we are parsing, this will become a numeric actually, and we do the same thing for the width equals double dot parse. And that was in txt width. So now you can see the wisdom of taking the input, uh, changing the names. Okay. So now it's actually pretty simple. Dim perimeter is simply twice the length and width, sum plus width, and the area is simply length, sorry, multiplied by width. Okay. Now I'm a little short on time. I have 2.5 minutes, so I really want to pause the video and write rest of the code and then quickly explain it to you and run the program. Okay, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back to explain rest of the code. So uh, we've gotten length and width, so we calculate the perimeter and the area, and in order to publish results into the results text box, this guy over here, I'd forgotten to change its name. Its name is really text box 1. We can append the text, so I say text box 1 dot append text, and this line will publish the length, and the style is same as we use in command line application, and will concatenate the string. N2 means limited to decimal place, and environment.new line will give me a new line, so I can type the next results on the next line. And this slash underscore allows me to split the string in multiple lines. So this line prints the width of the rectangle to 2 decimal point, uh, this one perimeter that we calculate over here, and this one the area. Okay. uh, then we have to do the code for the reset buttons. So you just double click on the reset button to open the code window, and then I just basically set all the text properties to all the text boxes to zero length string. So I'm quickly gonna run it, and let's say 2.1 and 3.2 compute, and if I change, it'll keep going and it'll publish all the results here. And if I reset, all the values are gone, and I can try next value 3.4, 3.4 again, compute, and the reset. All right. Thanks for watching. This is the Windows application of the rectangle program using text box and others. Thank you.